Hello, my name is Russell Myers. Welcome to Issues Unite. So, looks like I'm going to be using this camera for a while here, and I ordered a new just standard webcam, but it's not going to be here until sometime in May. Anyway, so one thing I want to ask right up front is your opinion. Should I do a live stream? And I was thinking about maybe starting to do a live stream, maybe once a week for an hour or so. I could probably do it more often if it catches on. A lot of people are feeling kind of isolated right now, and I'd have chat open so I could respond to people. The first one would be kind of a test run to weed out the technological aspects of this. So let me know what you think in the comments below. And, if I get enough people saying yes, then I'm going to give that a go. All right, so everybody been getting hit with all this bad news regarding the coronavirus, but let's start taking a look at some of the good news that's starting to come out. All right, first of all, China has seen their infection curve flatten out, and they're actually starting to look at lifting the quarantine slowly, gradually, not all at once, of course. That would be foolish. So at least they're looking at lifting the quarantine inside the country. And so are several other countries. They're starting, like Vietnam, they're starting to look at lifting the quarantine. So this is good news. This was very short-lived for them. And we can expect that country after country, it will follow about the same pattern. I did say that I expected it to be worse here than in more socialist countries because look at how it has worked out. Now, I'm going to say Trump has gotten a lot of criticism for not acting sooner on this, but we already have the debate going on from many sources about whether to, let people go back to work, and older workers, some bullshit about where older workers are willing to sacrifice themselves and put themselves at risk of death to save the capitalist system. Oh yeah, let me give up my life so that the corporate overlords can make a profit. This has nothing to do with saving human beings. This has to do with dollars going all up to the top. No, bullshit. All right. And I want to give a shout out to one of my favorite stores on earth, Harbor Freight Tools. This is unsolicited, by the way. This is completely on my own because they announced that they were giving away all of their face shields and masks and gloves to hospital emergency rooms wherever they do business. Any hospital that requests them that has a 24-hour emergency room, they will give their entire stock away to those hospitals. I like Harbor Freight in the first place. This just makes me feel better about spending my money there personally. And this isn't the first time that they've done things for charity. They did a lot of the same thing back with H1N1, and they donate a lot of tools and safety equipment to schools, vocational schools and high schools that have vocational programs for auto mechanics and woodworking programs. So, I'm I like Harbor Freight. The CEO of Texas Roadhouse announced that he is giving up his salary to support his frontline workers. And so that's, their salaries. So that's a good thing. Stores are starting to be stocked up again. I just came from the grocery store near my house, and they've got plenty of meat in stock, and frozen foods are all completely full. Not everything, of course, is back in stock, but I was able to buy frozen orange juice. They've never stopped having beer in stock, and they had. I bought a loaf of bread yesterday. They've got paper towels on the shelf. No toilet paper yet, but paper towels are back on the shelf. And they do have a limit of 2 rolls per customer, but hey, at least it's something. The mortality rate. Now, Italy has had a very high mortality rate, but we know that Italy has the oldest, population on average than most European countries. Now, everybody's freaking out about the American death toll here. The thing I want to bring up about that is look how poorly the testing has been done. The problem with the death toll as opposed to the infection rate here is that the only people that have been tested so far are government officials, celebrities who often go outside the country to go get tested. Tom Hanks is in Australia, I think. A lot of these celebrities you hear about having a positive test were not tested here in America. They were tested in other countries. So most of the people being tested here are the people that are the sickest people. All right? They're the ones that are most at risk for complications. And so they already have poor health. They're mostly above a certain age. And so these are the ones that are being tested. If you have mild symptoms, then you're not being tested at all. I know a lot of people that have milder symptoms. They may have it, for all I know, but they're not going to be tested. The prison where I am a nurse, we've got 3,000 inmates. We've been allocated 5, exactly 5 tests. For now, that's all we've got. We could have 100 people that have symptoms, but we can't test them. We are allowed 5, and those before using them, require a corporate approval. So, not everybody even runs a fever. I don't think that I've had a temperature of over 100 degrees in decades. A couple of weeks ago, I got a case of what I suspect was salmonella. I'm still suffering through the after effects of that. And the highest my temperature went was 99.7. I've been known to have a white count of 18,000. My temperature was a whopping 97.5. Even the doctor looked at me and asked what it takes for me to run a fever, because 18,000 is actually septic. So not everybody is going to have the symptoms that tell you that this is coronavirus, and not everybody that has those symptoms has coronavirus. So before we really know what the infection rate is, which we probably never will know the actual infection rate. Even in China, they said that they suspected that there were tens or hundreds of thousands of people more than were diagnosed who were positive for the virus, but their symptoms just were not severe enough to even test them. They just had mild flu-like symptoms. And not everybody that contracts the virus even has any symptoms at all. On the Diamond Princess, the ship that gained so much notoriety, 17% of the people on the ship that were tested, and I don't know if everybody on the ship was tested, but 17% tested positive, and half of those had no symptoms at all. So, everybody needs to stop freaking out about all of this. Just because, like I said, not everybody that dies with this dies from this. It may play a part into it, but if a person is sick, excuse me, allergies. If a person dies, and they test for this, that doesn't mean that they've done an autopsy. That means they tested and found this organism present. So they did not test for influenza A, influenza B. They didn't. It's what they didn't test for, which is a question. Just because they have this organism in their system doesn't mean this organism is what caused their death. It can contribute. They may be on the edge, and this pushes them over. But that doesn't mean that is the actual reason for their death. We're hearing about anecdotal cases of young people that are dying from this with no medical history. Well, a lot of the time, like I have ulcerative colitis. I didn't know that until I was 50 years old. You can have a medical issue and not know about it. And that's what I suspect these cases are that we're hearing about. You hear all the time about some teenage football player or wrestler or what have you, passing out and dying from the heat when they're otherwise healthy. And there's just too many variables, and without autopsies on these people, you cannot completely say that coronavirus was the cause of their death. There can be many contributing factors. So please stop looking for things to freak out about, and stop looking only at negatives. You're in isolation. You're not doing yourself any good with this. You're not doing yourself any good. You're not doing anybody else any good when you're constantly sharing all this information that is just terrifying and dark. It's not good. So, this is something we have to get through. We don't have a choice. So please think about your own emotional state and look for things that are more cheerful, and, things to look forward to. This is not going to wipe out the entire population. This is not a nuclear holocaust. This is not the Black Plague. This is not going to reach anything near the 1918 flu epidemic. It's not going to get anywhere near that. So, stop all the doom and gloom. Take precautions. Wash your hands. If you are at high risk, wear a mask if you have to leave your house. Take all the precautions that have been advised. All right? Nothing more is necessary. You don't need to be completely paranoid. If you're driving down the street and somebody looks at you, they're not going to give you the virus. So keep all this in mind. There are good things to look at. Good things to think about. You need to focus more on them. Don't get into a pattern or if you're already in that pattern, you need to break it. You need to be conscious that it is a pattern that you have control over. Filter your own news feed. Skip over some of this stuff. All right? So, anyway, again, if you think I should do a live stream, let me know in the comments. If you can contribute $1 a month to help expand the channel, then please let me know. Then please contribute. I'm putting the PayPal link down below, and have a good night.